People have been asking me to bring back rankings for years. I've consistently said I'm not doing it and I don't like writing. But a podcast does not take any writing. So, along with my co host Kelly here,
Hi.
we are all set to sit down and talk some trash about the different teams we have for this indoor league.
Or talk some people up.
If you do not remember power rankings or you've never seen these before, these are my completely subjective, mostly made up takes on which teams I think are going to do the best going forward. Sometimes based on past results and sometimes based on whatever I think. We'll talk about some highlights. We'll talk about some flubs. Um, and hopefully we'll have a pretty good time.
And this episode is brought to you by GroupMe. It's better than Discord.
All right. You want to just get right into it?
Yeah. So, what does this league look like, and how is it different from last indoor?
Right. Yeah. So the big change here is that we are moving into 66. We had to lose a field, fit more people in. So it's going to be a lot more crowded. I suspect what that will mean is that players who play good poach defense and players who are really good at working in small boxes and maintaining the disc will do a little bit better than normal. And players who really kind of rely on long balls and kind of straight line speeds will potentially be weakened a little bit.
Okay, now classic rebuttal to that. What if they maintain spacing really well and they only send one deep at a time?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, teams are going to be able to figure that out. But I think if you have a player whose main role, I think like an Anthony is not in this league, but someone like Anthony who is really good at just beating someone in a foot race, that is going to be a little bit harder to do.
Okay, cool. So how many teams do we have?
Yep. We got 6 teams: red, blue, white, yellow, green, and black.
Okay, and captains for those teams? Do we know those?
Yeah, red is captained by John Leaz and Keegan. I don't know how to say his last name.
Whoop, whoop.
Blue is with Blanche and Summers. White has Jimmy and Caleb McCoy. A personal favorite. You maybe heard it in my voice. Yellow is captained by David Miller and Casey. Green has Jeffrey and Cam White.
Oh, don't call him Jeffrey. That's Jeff.
Big Jeff. And black has Steven and EJ.
All right. And what are the matchups you're most looking forward to watching tonight or participating in?
Well, I have not even remotely looked at this
All right, we'll come back to those. Do you have an initial ranking list?
I do. Let's get into it.
Okay.
So number one team that I see going into the year, everyone has probably seen this in our thumbnail already. I have White. I think that this team, just from top to bottom, is very strong. At their like handle core, obviously Eric, I still have as one of the best handles, maybe the best handle in OKC. Langford is a phenomenal handle, really good at just maintaining the disc. And then you just have so many just really, really tough matchups to guard, right? Jackson is really fast. Kyle is really fast. Jimmy is really fast. Normal is insanely difficult to guard. This is just top to bottom, really, really good. And then if you look at their ladies, right? Jillian came onto the scene last year. Incredibly impressive. And then Tiff and Sarah Stevens splitting time. Sarah is newer, so like the weeks she's there, that'll be slightly different than Tiff, obviously. But she's also in sand showed off some really good hands. I don't think that necessarily their ladies are a weakness. I think this would just be a hard team to attack.
Yeah, and I do like the look of some of their newer, like newer to Ultimate or newer to OKC Ultimate people like Ben Legg and Caleb McCoy. I think I've seen a lot of growth in them over the last couple of seasons that we've had anyway. So that's really exciting. Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah. Shout out again to Jillian. I believe she's from Houston. Just phenomenal hands, good throws, good decisions. And I feel like she really showcases what you were talking about by utilizing the small ball space in indoor.
Yeah.
What's your next team?
Well, before I move on from this one, I do want to say the other reason that I really like this, I think a potential weakness that they could have had would be that this is McCoy's first time captaining. I want to be captain for the first time. That's kind of tricky. But that's balanced out with Jimmy being maybe OKC's most experienced captain. He is captained every single
most requested captain.
He's requested every league that we have. So I think that they will do a really good job keeping everybody in position to do well and just keeping the vibes high.
Yeah, and this might be a good team to learn on too. Okay, so who's your number 2? We are number 2.
Number 2, I have Black.
Okay.
I think this is another team that just is really deep. Yeah, I think that I do have some questions about this one. Specifically, I'm really curious to see how Donnie does. He hasn't played Frisbee in like a couple of years. but I think that the depth in this team, there are just very few people that you worry about seeing on the field.
That's true. That's true. Well, you say that, except that I think probably Abby and Jacob worry about seeing EJ on the field. How do you think they're going to manage that?
Yeah, that'll be a really fun dynamic. So I do think that for this team to be super successful, I'm going to want to see Jacob and Abby do more game takeovers than they have in the past. I think they are very, very good at like being perfect cogs in a good system. And I haven't seen them dominate like messy league play as much as I think they are capable of doing. As far as how they'll work with EJ, I think these being bigger teams will allow EJ and deeper teams will allow EJ to sub a little bit more than he was doing the last league.
That's true. He was carrying our team. Yeah, he was phenomenal. Yeah.
Sometimes, and then he would get tired, and like frequently the second game of the day, just because he was doing too much at the beginning of the day. I think that this is a team that is set up that will require him to have to do a little bit less throughout the game so that he is able to do more of the spurts he has. I also think he and Steven have some weird synergy.
Super so.
Super so.
uh
Coco has also just become, I think, a top 10 player in OKC, if not higher than that. I think in sand, he was the best player in this last.
I do think he was made for sand. Yeah. Light, muscular, longer wingspan.
Yeah.
What a dog. So Steven, yeah, he injured his throwing arm, his right arm, last indoor, and he was on our team throwing lefty for the last like 3 games of the season, including like the final. Honestly, his lefty throws are already better than mine. So I'm really excited to see how he uses his arsenal of throws that he's now got. And then I don't know who Kelly Chong is, but I'm very excited about another Kelly, especially when it's spelled right. So shout out Kelly.
That does bring up, I think, the one potential issue this team could have is a lot of people that I don't know, and there are a lot of people that have kind of a wider range, right? So I mentioned Donnie, Kelly, we don't know. Trevor has been dealing with an injury. Max has been on and off dealing with an injury for a while. He's kind of the classic sign up for a league, play one game, donate money to OKC Ultimate for being there. I think Bryce Wynn. I don't think that I've played with him before.
Okay.
So yeah, this team will require kind of their wider range of players hitting the top end there.
I'm ready for the new players to impress us. Also, shout out baby ZJ Ryan.
Yeah.
Love to see him every time. And then Nathan, I have been really impressed. I think this summer Nathan started using his impressive height and didn't stop. And I really want to see that in indoor.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, who's your third?
Yeah, so my third is going over to green. And this is just such a weird team because if you look at this team, there are so many like really, really fast, difficult matchups, right? Obviously, like Jeffrey, I maintain is one of the most unguardable cutters in OKC, just the best deep ball player. You have Sam, you have Cam Lewis, you have Gifford, just insane amount of athleticism on this team. And really only Matt Battles and Sarah as true handles. Gavin, I totally missed, is another like speedster on this team.
Oh, yeah, that is a speedy team.
Yeah. So I think this team has the potential to be incredibly good. They're just going to need some of these players to develop into being more of a handle. Maybe that's Cam White kind of becoming the every other position handle that I know he's wanted to be for a while. Maybe this is Gifford falling into that role that he plays in like casual lunch bunch a bunch. But if they are able to have somebody who can consistently throw the disc everywhere on the field without turning it, that'll be big time.
Yeah, and we have some names I don't recognize, but I think you recognize them. Ethan and Steven.
Yeah, so Ethan has been on a couple of indoor league teams with me. I love this kid. He is tall, he uses his height well. I think he is, like I said, this would be his third indoor, so he's getting past the like, new guy like gets the benefit of the doubt. Like they're gonna need him to pick up his play. But I think they will be impressed with him. Steven was on my summer league squad. He wasn't on my pod. I don't remember him a ton. But I do remember him always asking questions and putting himself in position and learning a lot.
Cool. And then my personal favorite returner, Kyle Campbell. I am so glad he's back. I hope Tinker keeps him here for a while, and I can't wait to see what he does.
Yeah.
Also, Sunil, our summer league most improved player. I'm really excited to see what the speeds he uses and the throws that he pulls out for indoor.
Yeah. But again, the two names you pointed out, people who generally do more cutting.
true.
I'm excited about everyone there as well. They're going to need somebody who can throw the disc, 30 times a point without turning it over.
Shout out Sarah. All right, who's your fourth place?
Uh, Fourth, I have blue.
Okay.
This is one I went back and forth on a lot, just because they're so deep, right? This is, I think, uh, one that their high end levels off earlier than some others, but it just stays at that level of like right below like top tier elite takeover guys, for a long, long time. Um, Obviously, this team is going to be right like Jason and Justin. We look at them; those are their two studs. Really curious to see how the personalities work there. I think those are two really, really competitive people. Uh, but yeah, I'm really curious to see how Summers and Blanche manage the personalities here. Specifically, I do think Justin will do a pretty good job in sixes. I think he is incredibly good at getting open 5 feet ahead of the disc, and that's
True.
really important.
True. And I think that because of his OSU experience, he is used to throwing to some speedsters who maybe don't have as much disc handling. So if they can figure out how to get that end zone space open, maybe that's their cheat code.
Yeah. I think that this team, there's really going to come down to there's a group of like four people in the middle, that I think, oh, five, sorry, that I think are all slightly better than people realize and ready to take the next step, and they just have to do it.
Let's go.
Consisting of Jaden, Juicy, Gabe, Junior, and Addison. These are all people who are slightly newer to OKC, who for different levels, have some respect, but I think people aren't necessarily looking at them as guys who can go and win the game. If those guys all take the next step, this is going to be an impossible team to defend.
Yeah, that's absolutely fair. And special shout out to Duda. Man, I don't know how many of you remember Camille. Probably everyone. But Duda is like the faster, sneaky sleeper Camille. She just fills every role that you need her to fill. She is fast. She is shockingly difficult to guard, but I still haven't pinpointed why. And I just love matching up with her. But yeah, I think she's going to be a good anchor on this team, and her handling would not be a bad thing.
Yeah, no. Yeah, great insight there. Kind of understanding of spacing, I think will probably play a lot if it is really crowded. Before we move on from blue, I would be remiss to fail to mention Junior's fantasy football punishment, playing one of the two games each week with an eye patch. I am fascinated to see how much that affects him.
Is it always the first game, or does he get to pick his game?
I don't remember. Junior, let us know what it is.
All right. Who's your number 5 team?
Five is us, Team Red.
Ooh.
So I generally tend to self-rate my teams a little bit low at the beginning of any season, right? It looks bad if I rate myself super high and we don't. But I also think that this is a team that is going to grow substantially as the league comes on, right? So similar to some other teams, we have a lot of people who are newer or who have been around a while in that same like you're kind of like a new guy box,
Okay.
right? So I'm looking like brand. We have like Ephraim is like brand new, and then Isaac are a little bit as new or they've been around for a while. We also have a lot of people that I think tend to do better as the team around them gets more synergy, right? So I look at like Will and Ashley. These are like ultimate synergy people, right?
Mm.
I've seen Will do really, really good when he's on a team that knows exactly what he wants to do when he's able to mess off them. And I've seen Will do poorly when he is on a team that is trying to play a different style of game than him. But yeah, I would obviously, if you look at our top end here, ZJ, Liaz, just really, really insanely good top end. I think particularly 4-6s, these are people who are good at playing smart, switchy defense.
Yeah, and we also have Ryan Orland. And then tell me more about Logan.
So excited about this. This has the potential to move our team from like the bottom to the very top. Logan, when he was last in OKC, was one of the best players we had. Insanely good throws, really, really athletic. And he's been gone for years. I'm excited to see him back. I have no idea how good he's going to be. You played with him at Lunch Bunch, right?
Yeah, and I was honestly impressed. Sometimes it's hard to tell, especially when it's really windy and you're playing like fours. But throws were pinpoint. And he didn't seem to have any issues in the deep space. I don't think he fully unlocked everything he could possibly unlock at a 4v4 lunch bunch, but yeah, I'm excited. On that note, I'm also really excited about Kason. I haven't gotten to play with Kason a ton in the last like year and a half, but I know for a long while he was recovering, I think from a hamstring injury, but I might be wrong about something in his leg. And every time I have seen him play like pickups and stuff since then, I am flabbergasted how freaking fast he is.
Yeah.
I just don't remember like the injury just took so long. I just forgot that that was part of his play style, and I really hope that he uses that in indoor.
Yeah, Kason has also put a lot of effort into in leagues and pickups, developing his throwing game. So that's led to a lot of people forgetting how, like you mentioned, forgetting how fast and athletic of a deep threat he is. I think we have a really good team that will allow him to kind of flex those roles. That will allow him to work the unders, make the continuations, work some handling. And also go deep, right? If we look at like our handle core, like ZJ and Leah's classic, both go both ways, guys.
Yeah. So if you saw like an ideal setup or an ideal role that Kason fills in that space, like what would that look like?
I mean, look, I'm sorry, Kason, you're a deep threat, right? Everybody wants our throws to be better. I think OKC does have the problem of just assuming good players are handles and less good players are cutters, in a way that I don't think is accurate. But I think that that leads to people thinking to make the next step, you got to learn, get your throws going. Your throws are getting better. You're a deep threat, man. You're just an insane deep threat. I ideally Kason is just protecting the deep space against guys like Big Jeff. Jason loves going deep, guys like that. David Miller, who we'll talk about, and then roofing people on the other end.
Yeah, all right. Sounds exciting. All right. And so who do you have as the lowly sixth?
Yeah, so my last place team I have is yellow. Obviously every team in this league was insanely packed, right? Like it's nuts to me that I'm looking at a team that has Garrett, Jerry, David Miller, and saying like this is the worst team. But somebody's got to be last. I think that this team has a lot of people on it who we rate as like the top end guys there that we rate among the other top end guys. I have seen dominate a league, specifically like Garrett and Jerry.
Okay.
Great players.
Uh-huh.
I have not yet seen an indoor league where I think, oh yeah, they are just their team is undefeatable.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
I I look at this team hilariously. This is the old guy team. Right? So obviously, like we have KT, but then like the next level of like old guy, right? Trey is here. David Miller is there. Gage Anderson, I don't know him exactly. I don't think I played with him, but I know he's a little bit older because it's our birthdays and we did teams.
Honorable mention to Curtis and Jana.
Yeah, true. Yeah, yeah. Old people just don't seem old because they run a
I'm
lot.
not sure how old Joe is, but I'm sure he's older than me.
Now, again, with sixes, you'll have to cover less distance playing defense and plenty of like. I mean, I mentioned Cray, but Cray's defense is unbelievable.
Yeah, holy cow.
I think the bigger weakness I see here is just I would need to see Jerry or like a David Miller take over a league game in a way that I haven't seen them do as much before.
Yeah, and I think I've seen David Miller do that sometimes at pickups, where there's more space to work. So I'm interested in seeing how that looks and making sure that he doesn't injure himself. Um, who do you think is going to get more layouts, Jerry or Matt Cray?
No, honestly, it depends on how the team is going. Jerry lays out for the fun of it. Cray is one of the most competitive people I've ever met. If the game is close, he is diving for the game saving game.
That's fair. That's fair. And then names I don't remember, but maybe I do recognize Joel and Andrew.
Joel, I do not know. I think this is his first league with us. Excited to see what he does, but I have nothing about him. Andrew has been on my his first indoor league. He was on my team. He was brand new there. He ended up developing pretty well. I thought he was of our like group of new guys there, the first person to pick up spacing
Okay.
really, really well. I know he played summer league last year on Reed, I want to say. I don't remember him a ton from there. I
Okay.
don't think he was in this last indoor. So yeah, definitely developing. And again, at minimum, really good at making cuts at the correct time and really good at dumping the disc effectively, which will be important to say.
Okay. Speaking of making cuts at the correct time, maybe it's just because like Summer Sea's always moving. Joe is on this team. Joe is a stable, and I think that Joe kind of is like the mascot of this team. Just somebody who goes, doesn't drop the disc, and is always consistent.
Yeah.
I am honestly every time I see Joe not on my team, I'm a little sad about it.
Same. Joe is one of my favorite people to play with. He's awesome.
Yeah.
Real excited to see what he does.
Yeah. Oh, what was that?
The last thing I want to talk about this team. So I mentioned to a few people, and I think to you, that I think Casey has a weird boost when he plays with Garrett. They have really similar ideas, and like they both want the disc to move in the exact same way, so they both cut for each other effectively. I think they have a lot of trust there. Casey is at his best when he is playing with Garrett. And to counter that, I think that Casey is among his worst playing with Jerry. I think Casey, like I mentioned, the people on our team do a lot better when they have a team that does what they expect to do and like really trust them and kind of builds the vibes. Jerry, hilariously, is one of the best trash talkers, maybe the best trash talker to his own team.
Jerry sucks.
Yeah, in OKC. I have seen Casey sort of spiral a little bit when he makes a mistake and feels like he needs to get it back. I think Jerry can make that worse. Obviously they played together at OU.
Do you think there's potential for Jerry to make that better?
Jerry changes his whole personality. It's like before, maybe I'm overthinking these things. I'll be really curious to see how that dynamic plays out.
All right, all right. And another person who has highs and lows. Personally, if I captured any of this person's highs, I would be pretty pleased with myself. Curtis, what do you expect to see from Curtis?
Curtis is so good and is also just good for like 2 or 3 throws into the dirt or into the roof per game. When that's not happening, his teams get this insanely good player, right? He's super, super fast. He has all the throws. Yeah, he just needs to take a half second after catching the disc to think about the throw before his body just does it. Or he just needs to keep playing how he normally plays, and frequently it works fine. Yeah, crazy high-low player. But when he's on, yeah, this team gets a ton better. That would be someone they would need to be on to really hit that next level.
All right. Well, now we have our rankings from first through six: white, black, green, blue, red, yellow. Any other notes before we kick off this first indoor league?
So this was just sort of an introduction to the teams. In the future, I really want to get into kind of highlighting things that happened. If somebody made a great play on your team, let me know so I can shout them out. If somebody looked like an absolute idiot, let me know about that even more. I want to trash talk people.
Yeah, and I think that we are gearing up for another round of live barn, but maybe at the new facility it will actually work. Shout out Eric. And if we do have that footage, you can always refer us to the footage so we can dissect and trash talk each play.
As we go. Yeah. Thank you very much. Let's go.